Then I'm going to hit my little intro.
Whoa.
Hello and welcome to the 10-minute tabletop talk podcast. My name is Grant Ellis, and tonight I am joined by...
Rudy Basso.
So, Rudy, we just finished playing some Gumshoe, and what do you love about the Gumshoe system?
I'm so happy you asked me because that's exactly what I wanted to talk about, the Gumshoe system. The big thing that I wanted to talk about is that I think the worst thing that can happen when you're playing a role-playing game is you run into something and you're like, okay, I will use my X skill. And you're like, okay, dice, let's go. I'm really good at this. And you roll a 1. And you're like, well, what do I do now, GM? And the GM goes, well, you don't know. You rolled a 1. Guess you'll have to figure something else out. And that,
Yeah,
I mean, and that's a bigger conversation for GMing, but it's like it's baked into the rules for games. If you fail your intimidation check, then you have failed to intimidate the other NPC. And so now you have to come up with a whole new, and maybe that's, that's fine in some cases, but like I have made a big scary orc. That is his thing, to intimidate. I have a plus 11 to my intimidate check. But even though I am great at this, I have failed, and it can happen a lot, and it's always just the most frustrating thing. I always like to say you want to put up hurdles for your players, not obstacles. And Gumshoe says, hey, you don't have to worry about that. All right. You made a character that's good at is good at specific investigative abilities. If you, the character, the player, can figure out a way to apply your ability that is, feasible, that is reasonable, then congratulations, you automatically succeed and the story continues onwards. You're never going to be set back in ways. You're never going to be stuck in ways. And that's something that's the thing I love about Gumshoe the most.
yeah. I was actually reading the Trail of Cthulhu core book because I got like all the books for no money on a bundle of holding.
Hell yeah,
And
that was recent. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ken Hite says at the beginning, he goes, I love Call of Cthulhu as a concept, as a role-playing game, and I love investigative games. He goes, but I had to make a game using the Gumshoe rule set because I'm so tired of just being like, I'm a competent, I guess I'm not. I
Yeah,
failed my
those
role in here.
D100 systems in particular drive me crazy. And yeah, that's the thing is
Yeah.
like people are always like, Call it Cthulhu, Call it Cthulhu. And I'm over here like, have you heard about Trail of Cthulhu? Have you heard about this better version of Cthulhu? Like
Yeah.
the weirdo Gumshoe person that I am. But
So
yeah.
So let's talk about the sort of unique hybrid of two systems that we're playing. We're combining two games,
Yeah.
Esoterrus and Fear itself. So, how do you feel about the dichotomy between townies with townie skill sets and agents with Esoterrus skill
I
sets?
really like it. We were in the middle of playing today, and Ethan, who was playing a townie, was like, "Oh man, you have such like more." So he has computer use, and I have like evidence analysis, surveillance, data retrieval. I have a bunch of stuff that's kind of more specific, but at the same time, I don't have like notice, which is really interesting. Like I am not from here. I would not be aware. Like he used notice to like determine whether or not another local was acting weird or conspicuous or things like I don't have that. I
Hmm.
would not be able to learn that kind of thing. So I really like the kind of technical stuff that the agents are better at mashing with the more like small town America stuff that these characters are good at. And also one of our characters has psychic abilities too. So that's like, okay, we're not totally imbalanced here. It's not like we're the agents are
Yeah.
superheroes and the townies are just helpless. Like she could make me go crazier. I don't really understand how that works.
Yeah,
But
and I realized with yeah, with Ethan too. I wanted, so I was running the game, and it's one of those things I want to try to find motivation and hooks for players to go into scenes. And I
mhm.
realized, so Ethan's there, it's like, why would he go with any of you anywhere? So I messaged him privately. I was like, you as the vet are the surprise inspector for the reptile zoo. So you can
Mm.
just show up. So if folks are going there, you're just going to show up and like you can get access because you're you, which helped drive the game forward. How do you feel about this game's pacing, maybe compared to other Gumshoe pacing? I know we're doing an AP and we're doing faster episodes, but truncated time. But how do you feel about the overall pacing of Gumshoe games in general?
It really feels like build, 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 big climactic. It feels like a TV show, right? It feels like your X Files, and this goes, I think, for every Gumshoe kind of game. It all builds to a climax. We talked a little bit about the spine, which is kind
Hmm.
of the Gumshoe spine, which is kind of like your way of kind of outlining an adventure before you start it, because that's one of the most difficult things about Gumshoe is it's hard to come up with a mystery for everyone to solve and to give them clues to build to a conclusion. So I always enjoy that kind of, the kind of first session, the kind of figuring things out, the following the different leads. And this is another thing that I wanted to mention is like, yeah, the agents may have better mechanical benefits, but they don't have the kind of fluffy relationship benefits that the locals have. Like, April and I were following on leads that we had heard about from our higher ups, but Summer's character has an ex boyfriend in town. Spoilers. And so she just happened to stumble upon a lead by talking to him because they were kind of awkwardly texting each other, and that happened. Like, we don't have that. April and I don't really have that. So I think that's a really great way of balancing it out as well, is that that's kind of baked into Fear itself, that small town like weirdness going on. So giving those relationships to them is that kind of advantage where, okay, we have like access to all this crazy equipment, we don't have ways to solve talking problems like they do.
Yeah, something I like too is if you think about it like a TV show, I like
Hmm.
how maybe Ethan's character only has computer use and he was able to get information using the skill and was still competent at the computer
Hmm.
system. That when you looked, you saw there was another layer of weirdness.
Yes, it's a great, and this is another big part of Gumshoe is like everyone needs to complement each other. You know what I mean? Like, I
Hmm.
may be good at one thing. It's in a lot of the games. It's like make sure everyone has one, like everyone has all of the investigation spells spread out across the entire party. And I think that's even cooler that we have different investigation skills, because like you said, yeah, it just kind of lends itself to that kind of tag teaming, triple teaming, whatever, problems that I think is really really unique and really really fun.
If you were to see a genre or a trope or collection of tropes adapted to Gumshoe as a rule set, what would you want to see?
I mean, I already have seen it. It's Teenage Detectives with Bubblegum
Yeah.
Shoe. I adore Bubblegum Shoe, a game that unfortunately was made and kind of not really supported by their publisher. That was not Pelgrane. It was the oh my god. They make the Dresden game. That's their
I
big
know who you're
thing.
talking about.
I mean, I'll
Yeah, I
name them.
know
I
it.
just literally forgot the name of the company.
No, it's all right.
Hat,
So,
evil hat. It's evil hat, evil hat.
Evil Hat.
Yeah, it's so that's the thing. But I can understand it's super niche. Like, it's super niche to be like, I want to play the Hardy Boys or I want to play Nancy Drew. But I love that groundedness.
Encyclopedia
That,
Brown.
yeah, you can't solve the problem by punching someone because then you get suspended from school and you won't get into college and like life is
Yeah.
over. You know what I mean? It
If
takes it back an even further level.
if you were to put together a bubble gumshoe group out of people we know collectively, who would you want in that group? We're gonna play 4
Oh my
sessions.
goodness.
Scheduling's not an issue.
Well, I don't know because, and this is I don't really like romance stuff. If so, I would have someone else GM it. I would have
This is
someone else GM it.
platonic. Okay,
Okay, well, no, because I know players who are really good at the romance stuff, and I think
I'm
that is
one.
an aspect. That is an aspect of high school that I think I would love to see touched on in a bubblegum shoe game. But I'm not the person to run that. I'm not that, like, I would play in it. What is happening?
So we've got a little less than a minute.
Ah!
So
Oh, I don't know. On the
bubblegum shoe,
spot,
you'd
I
like to
can't.
play
I
in who? So outside of playing with that, Rudy, where can we find you online?
You can hit me up on Twitter at Rudy Basso and check out the podcast I produce, Games and Dragons. Talk about teenage romance. There's plenty of that there. Plus, they also have magical powers. So,
All right. Well, until next time, my name is Grant Ellis. This has been a very special edition, Post Station Zero, a new AP for the wonderful world of RPGs with my friend and associate, Rudy Basso. Catch you next time. We've got 3 seconds. and this is 10 minutes long.